climbers to present in clinic with shoulder pain or require hyperflexibility, which is completely avoidable if they are given the correct information. Entrenched in climbing folklore is the myth that in order to conserve energy, a climber must hang off a hold and participate in on-the-wall and off-the-wall activities such as fingerboards with the arm fully extended. This idea, although with a modicum of merit, is far too simplistic to withstand the scrutiny of scientific rigour. The idea that an extended arm rather than a bent arm will conserve energy has some validity at a basic level because the metabolic cost of bent arm holding is more significant than straight arm positions on the wall or the fingerboard. However, this must be always weighed against the risk of developing shoulder pain and acquired flexibility or excessive flexibility in the shoulder joint connective tissues such as the ligaments and joint capsules. Hanging off a straight arm is problematic for the musculoskeletal system and in particular the glenohumeral joint of the shoulder. A climber that spends significant amounts of time hanging off a loose shoulder while resting between moves on a problem or when training on a hangboard or fingerboard is building hyperflexibility, persistent pain or both during these activities because of poor joint control. If you spend significant amounts of time hanging off the shoulder in excessive elevation, the shoulder is effectively overloading the ligaments and connective tissues without appropriate muscular support. This will potentially put the shoulder region and other related areas such as the wrist, elbow and neck under excessive strain because of poor biomechanical positioning of the upper body and upper quadrant. This can lead to overload of the musculoskeletal tissues responsible for supporting function and cause repetitive strain injuries, as well as causing hyperflexibility or laxity in areas that your body has not naturally acquired it. The optimal shoulder position when hanging off a wall or a hangboard is established by using a neutral shoulder joint position with some degree of external rotation at the shoulder joint. This position allows for a somewhat resting position for the shoulder joint with minimal amounts of stress on the connective tissues and ligaments. All too often, climbers are incorrectly taught to draw their shoulder blades down their back to prepare the shoulder for active movement as demonstrated in this video. This is a suboptimal movement pattern for everyday climbing function. This is counterproductive because excessive shoulder depression simply jams up the shoulder joint, engages the latissimus dorsi, and also prevents appropriate upward elevation when required. A better position for optimizing shoulder position for long-term health for the climber's shoulder is as follows. The head and neck are aligned over the shoulders and chin slightly tucked in towards the chest. The shoulder blades are set wide over the rib cage with the shoulder blade muscles slightly engaged to open the front of the chest. The elbows are slightly bent and the whole arm is slightly rotated outwards to engage the posterior rotator cuff muscles. Common to see climbers when resting between moves with the arm in full elevation or at full stretch. The arm in this video is in some degree of medial rotation with the elbow creases facing inwards and the shoulder blades elevated towards the ears. This positioning is disadvantageous for the health of the shoulder, neck, elbow and wrist joints. This often becomes the default posture that climbers adopt on the wall and on the hangboard. The optimal shoulder position when hanging off the wall, or a hangboard in this case, is established by using a neutral shoulder position with some degree of shoulder external rotation. This position allows a somewhat resting position for the joint with the minimal amount of stress through the connective tissue and ligaments. This is called the shoulder ready position, and it's described as follows. The head and neck are aligned over the shoulders and the chin is slightly tucked in towards the chest. The shoulder blades are set wide over the rib cage with the shoulder blade muscles slightly engaged by drawing them together rather than down your back to open the front of your chest. The elbows are slightly bent and the whole arm is slightly rotated outwards to engage the posterior rotator cuff muscles. Integration into climbing. The final test and the acid test is to convert this new movement pattern to the rock or wall so that the shoulder is all protected. So, before you start climbing, start off by hanging with your arm overhead while hanging on a hold. The head and neck are aligned over the shoulders and the chin slightly tucked in towards the chest. The shoulder blades are set wide over the rib cage with the shoulder blade muscles slightly engaged by drawing them together rather than down your back to open the front of the chest. It should feel like the shoulder blades are gently pressed against your rib cage throughout the movement. Also, to engage your posterior rotator cuff, imagine you are squeezing a soccer ball between your armpits and rib cage. The elbows are always slightly bent and the whole arm is slightly rotated outwards to engage the posterior rotator cuff muscles. Thank you for listening. If you would like to find out more about climbing physiotherapy or injury prevention for climbers, please contact me at info@insideedgephysio.com. Alternatively, you can catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or you can subscribe to my injury prevention update at www.insideedgephysio.com. Now, for the important stuff. The information which is provided in this video is not a replacement for a healthcare professional. The content in this video does not constitute advice on which you should rely upon. It is provided purely for general information purposes only.